Iranian film directors are internationally acclaimed for a simple but powerful approach to their craft. Blackboards is just one of 300 Iranian films to win international awards in the last decade. It's the story of itinerant teachers in Iran's Kurdish region, and it took home the Special Jury Prize from Cannes in 2000. Critics say, compared with highly produced Hollywood movies, films from Iran capture the essence of cinema: narrative, character and landscape.
Our films, we are more maybe analytical. We are using lots of symbols that maybe in Western films you don't need to. You can get to the point right away, very graphically. And here you have to use many different symbols to get your point across.
But apart from the aesthetic qualities of Iranian films, cinema has a more important role to play inside Iran, exploring and exposing the darker side of society. The Circle is typical of these films. In defiance of Iran's powerful conservative forces, it tackles forbidden subjects like prostitution.
من مدارکش کنترل کردم مشکل
10 بارم ماشین میده مسافر حاجی جون همینجور سوار شده
خانم چی شده؟
هیچی از اینایی که جلوی مالی گرفتن بپرسین.
چه نسبتی با ایشون دارید؟
نسبتی ندارم.
چرا سوارتون کردن؟
خودم سوار شدم.
برای چی؟
قربون شکلت اگه سوار نشم خرج منو میدی؟
آدم شده بنداز
حاجی جون من زن بچه دارم کارمند هستم تو رو خدا حاجی جون حاجی نگاه کن به من قیافه میاد این ماشین میاد که من این کارو بشم ببین نگاه کن این به جای دختر منم ببین من کارمندم داشتم میرفتم خونه.
Director of The Circle, Jafar Panahi, is a leading figure in the new wave of Iranian cinema. Critics called his film a landmark and awarded him the Venice Film Festival's top prize in 2000. The film has sold to 37 countries, but it still has not been seen in Iran. Panahi has refused to make the cuts the censors wanted.
من سینما رو اون گونه که دوست دارم بیان کردم و به سینما اون گونه که دوست دارم نگاه کردم و سعی کردم واقعیت‌های اجتماعیمو اون گونه که می‌بینم بدون هیچ گونه خودسانسوری و بدون هیچ گونه ملاحظه بلکه
همجا باش تا من برمی‌دارم. ببین الهام من باید کار دارم. چیکار داری؟ حامله‌ام. حامله‌ای؟ مگه تو شوهر داشتی؟ میخوام بندازمش. 2-3 جا رفتم قبول نکردن.
The Circle is about a group of women, one a single mother, some freshly out of prison, all caught in a cycle of sexual and political repression. Topics that cannot be questioned in Iranian society.
الهام من چیکار کنم؟ به خدا نمیدونم. من هیچ کس رو نمیشناسم.
زنهایی که تو هستن میخوان از اون محدودیت ها بگریزن و نرسن به نقطه پایانی که دارن بلکه از اونها از یک دایره کوچیک رها شدن وارد مرز یک دایره کوچیک رو ازش جدا شدن وارد یک دایره بزرگتر شدن که حالا تو اون هیچ امنیتی نیستش.
چرا پس مامانت کو؟ نمیدونی؟ مگه این کیف تو نیست؟ پس چرا اونجا گذاشته بودی؟ مامانت کو؟ مامانم؟ مامانم جبتنم کجا رفته؟ تو همینجا تنها گذاشت؟ نه ترس من الان مامان تو پیدا میکنم مامانت کدوم وری رفت؟
بچه مال شما نیست؟
نه
من به خیالم بچه شماسی.
ندیدی مادرش کجا رفت؟
نه والا ندیدم همه الان دیدم بچه.
آقا مواظب این بچه باش من الان میام.
The film takes a realistic and disturbing look at how these women each struggle to change their circumstances, but in the end remain homeless and helpless.
مریض میشه از واسط مریض میشه عادت میکنه خوب میشه
The hardline clerics saw this film as a stinging attack against them and the failings of their regime. The censors and clerics have told Panahi they will burn the circle if they ever see a copy of the film. Panahi, working by the Caspian Sea in northern Iran, remains defiant. He's now developing an equally controversial new script.
در جامعه‌هایی که سیستم بسته داره و اینا فقط میخوان تمام آدم‌ها رو یک گونه بار بیارن، تفکر دیگه ای رو نمیتونن بپذیرن و ترس اینو دارن که اگر به این آگاهی ها افزوده بشه، اگر فکر تازه تری گفته بشه، امکان داره خودشون متزلزل بشن.
Another director who has run into far more serious trouble with the authorities is Tamaneh Malani. We found her attending a film festival in Tehran. But she isn't allowed to talk to us. That's because she's facing charges over her last film, The Hidden Half. It's no minor matter. The crimes she's accused of carry the death sentence. The film is essentially a love story, but it's set in the years following the Islamic Revolution in 1979, when the new regime carried out a brutal crackdown on any dissent.
شما لازم نیست کار کنید. به هر حال اسمتون رو نمی‌نویسن، یعنی من نمیذارم.
It's a dark period of Iranian history that's close to home for Malani. She saw 10 of her friends executed and many others in prison during that time. Although Malani can't comment on the court case, her husband, architect Mohammad Nikbin, can. He says the charges against her, which relate to national security, are a fabrication, part of a campaign to silence filmmakers.
There are the accusations, but there are no documentations for the accusations.
I mean, were you surprised at all when she...
Extremely. I mean, we could have thought of anything except that. That was a total shock, and I think lots of people got shocked in the movie industry.
The irony is the court case has not stopped The Hidden Half being screened in cinemas across Tehran. The film went through the normal censorship process and was approved by the Ministry of Islamic Guidance. It was only after this approval that a group of angry clerics brought the charges against Malani. But they have not thwarted her aim to encourage debate about Iran's recent history. The younger generation is learning the real story of the revolution.
هم راجع موقعیت سیاسی قبل هم راجع موقعیت سیاسی الان و هم اتفاقات جامعه اطلاعات خوب بوده. یه خورده دیدمون بازتر شدش.
Late last year, Tamaneh Malani was imprisoned and then released after a public uproar. While she's now free to resume her work, the charges have not been dropped. Despite her uncertain future, Malani is about to start shooting her next film, which explores the inequality of inheritance laws for women in Iran.
Filmmaking is very important for my wife, and now we have a scenario ready, and we are going through the approval process and trying to start again, see what happens.
This film, The Party, about troubled youth, is the most popular movie now showing in Tehran. But while censorship clearly hasn't stopped directors telling their gritty social stories, it has forced them to be more innovative in how they approach their craft.
If the political points that you have is a subject that is a forbidden subject, is something that you shouldn't be talking about it, of course you have to go about it symbolically. I mean, if you use this symbolism for things that you are not allowed to get to it directly.
Censorship is the mother of all metaphors. We have censorship here, a very strict one, and we have had to find new ways of expressing ourselves, which is both understood by our own audience, but also can translate to the Western mind.
Baham Farmanara has directed films both in Hollywood and Iran. He returned to Iran in 1983. It was another decade before the censors let him make his first film in Iran. But Farmanara says filmmaking in Hollywood can be just as restrictive.
In some ways, the censorship there is by financing. Here is the government. And my preference, because I also practiced that when I was over there, is that ours at least is closer to art.
Farmanara often stars in his own films like this one, The Smell of Camphor and the Fragrance of Jasmine, an autobiographical story about a filmmaker who's been banned from making films for 20 years. He says what keeps him working in Iran is the real power films can have in shaping society.
In my new film, A House Built on Water, somebody asked me, why do you call it a house built on water? I said, well, because I can't call it a country built on water. But that's the sense of it. Everything is going in opposite directions. You don't feel that there is anybody solid enough to run the whole show. And the forces of the young people is amazingly destructive when it becomes angry. So all in all, I've tried to point out in my film that, look, what is happening to us, there's all these contradictions. We have our traditions, but at the same time we have young people that have been born and grown up since the revolution, that they don't believe in anything because they don't feel that they have a future. And once you don't have hope, you're a very dangerous weapon.
The Bahrain Film Festival screens short films made by women. It's a showcase of young talents. The next generation of filmmakers are as eager as ever to use film to investigate the society they live in. This short film by Shohar Sultani deals with the taboo subject of pregnancy outside of marriage. Like many real-life stories, the girl is cast out of home. She's left pondering life as a prostitute to support herself.
خودم رو میگم با توجه به سنی که دارم یاد گرفتیم که الان تو این محیط خودمون رو سانسور بکنیم. برای اینکه اینجوری به ما یاد دادن و ما اینجوری بزرگ شدیم. برای همین هیچ وقت من زن ایرانی نمیتونم به راحتی اون زن استرالیایی باشم در واقع.
تندیس جشنواره به سرکار خانم طاهره آشتیانی برای ستاره‌های قطبی.
But in cinema, women are finding the confidence to express their problems, hopes and desires. And Tamaneh Milani is there to offer her support to the next generation. The future vibrancy of Iranian cinema seems assured. These young filmmakers are as determined as their mentors to use cinema as a tool to challenge and change.